Scott with sjwellfire.com. Final Days Report, episode 109. We're calling this Human Net versus Skynet. Black Goo and you, my friends. Interesting article. Snake robot that's magnetized, that slithers. They want to put it in you. Let's read a bunch of articles. This snake-like robot slithers down your lungs and could spot cancer. Oh, goody. Though still a prototype, the robot can reach the inner recesses of the human body with minimal invasion, a task that has long frustrated doctors. Those poor frustrated doctors. It's creepy, the project's lead researcher and chair of robotics and autonomous systems at the University of Leeds said in an interview. But my goal is to find a way to reach as deep as possible inside the human body in the least invasive way possible. Goody, 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 goody. But it gets deeper when you start looking at all the different controlled mainstream news. Gets a little wild. Let's continue to read. Magnetic slime might be implanted within our body. No way, goody. That's the end goal. Transhumanism. They want to put this in you. It reminds me of the war against the blood. This right here, this black goo, is Lucifer's blood. It's this transhumanism, iron mixed with clay and will not cleave. The seeds of these freaks they're trying to put in you, my friends. Let's continue reading some other headlines. Scientists create magnetic slime robot that could be used to retrieve accidentally swallowed objects. Play this video. This is creepy. Robot made of magnetic slime. This is a robot made of magnetic slime. Controlled via external magnets, it can navigate narrow passages, grasp on enclosed objects. It's grabbing a wire, kind of wild, and fix broken circuits in you. It's a custard-like consistency, and the slime can even self-heal when cut. That reminded me of They Will Seek Death and Cannot Find It. Self-heal, this nanotech, we talk a lot about that. Iron mixed with clay, this transhumanism, defiling the temple of God, that is you. In the future, it is hoped that the slime can be used to retrieve objects swallowed by accident. We talked about that. The magnetic particles are coated in silicone to make the robot safe for use in the body, sure. But it needs to be tested, make sure that the magnetic particles, toxic by themselves, can't escape the robotic slime. Wow. But you peel back the onion when you look at the predictive programming in Hollywood. It's all about black goo. This is the fake blood. This is Luciferian's blood. You can just see it. And again, it's this transhumanism agenda, iron mixed with clay. You're just seeing the propaganda. And I'm going to go back to A Call for an Uprising. He actually shows this a lot, or Village and Citizen, just the Illuminati Hollywood programming that's out there. But let's just play a little bit of this black goo. And when you actually dive deep into this topic, it just seems black goo has its own intelligence. I mean, it's deep. Let's roll it.
This is A Call for an Uprising. Welcome to today's show. I've covered before the black fog, the black smoke that you see, Eminem becoming demonically possessed with the black smoke in his music videos. And I was in YouTube trending, and this is a common theme that I see all the time that you might see but not think about. And that is this video that they have, When the Party's Over, by Billie Eilish. I don't know how to say this person's name. But it's #1 trending on YouTube for a reason. And this is something that you'll see all the time. That is this black goo. I'm sure you've heard of the black goo. And she drinks this glass of, people just don't. It's just amazing to me. Below, people are like, what art, right? So it's real artistic to have a glass with something that looks like black poop, to drink it and then have it run out of your face and your eyes and your mouth like it's some type of artistic expression. Okay? The black goo that you'll see running out of her eyes, this is being done by more and more musicians, more and more actors are posing, doing this type of stuff in what they call art, in magazine shoots and in movies. The black goo. Now, you'll probably recall the black goo if you've seen the film Prometheus. The black goo represents, really, it comes down to transhumanism. At least that's my take on it. And demonic possession, because transhumanism and the mark of the beast are one and the same.
It's the war on God. It's representing water and blood. And so this human net, this transhumanism human net will actually be supplemented as well by Skynet and the weaponization of robots. Many of you are awake. A lot of people have no clue, but dogs like this are around the world yelling at people in the public saying, go home, mask up. And they're just admitting they're putting weapon systems on these robots. So we've got HumanNet and Skynet, the weaponization of this one world beast system. And that last podcast I did with Klaus Schwab 8 years ago, talking about the future one world government, has nothing to do with governments as we know it. It has to do with tech companies. So I go on to talk about how the 10 kingdoms of the end times could be tech companies, right? This AI system, nothing to do with borders. Freaks. Look at that thing. That's out right now.
Ghost Robotics and Sword International have teamed up to create a rifle-toting robot dog. Called the Special Purpose Unmanned Rifle, or SPUR, the system
a rifle-toting robot dog
adds a 6.
And the reason why I mentioned this is I had a dream last night. I'm actually fasting to try to get revelation what the Lord wants me to do next with my life. You know, we're trying to sell our house, where to go, what to do, all that good stuff. I've had a couple interviews for some big jobs, but I feel like the Lord is nudging me to stay in the ministry. And again, I think time is short, right? This famine, World War III, so-called grid down, a lot is happening. We just ultimately need to get simple, and we need to make sure we have a food source, and we need to think about and pray that God just provides, you know, manna for us in these end days. But this dream was a little wild. It goes in multiple places, so stick with it. But I saw a man running in a hallway being chased by military weaponized robots that reminded me of that dog. And some of them were really screwing up. They were like stuck in a corner, but others were just on this guy. And he was filming them, which I'm assuming he had a cell phone filming these robots, and he was sending it to his wife. He was like live streaming to his wife. And then it just cut out. And then the wife, she was taken hostage into a hotel room, screaming with this guy that was holding her. And somehow she got out into the hallway, and she was like, they're coming after us. They're bringing out the robot, just screaming at the top of her lungs. And she was yelling at this obese man in the hallway, and he did nothing. And then the captive man that was holding her down grabbed her, picked her up, and said, we'll let you talk to the world and disclose this. Calm down. And he was telling the obese man in the hallway that did nothing. He's just like, oh, she hasn't slept. We just got married. She's lost it. And he did nothing. He's just like, well, oh, whatever. And so then my dream flashed forwarded to her in a press conference, all calm, not hysterical like she was. And she was telling the world about these robots. And she was telling them about nanotech robots in humans. And she was actually at this press conference with this rich Arab man, just telling them about these nanorobots in you. And I'm not sure if she was trying to warn people or she was embraced by it. Maybe something happened to her. I'm not 100% sure, but it just reminded me of Black Goo. It reminded me of that snake robot. It reminded me of everything that we talk about, how you've been programmed forever, on how this nanotech is taking over you, right? Check out that podcast, Iron Mixed with Clay. It's wild. It just seemed like she was trying to warn her. Maybe she was she was a spokesperson for this technology, because all of a sudden she became controlled. Maybe they injected her with this nanotech. I'm not 100% sure, but at the end of the day, it's this warning of this controlled zombie, right? Going back to Klaus Schwab's futurist, Noah Harari, where there's no more free will. It almost looked to me like she lost her free will. She was crazy, and then she was smooth and talking about this nanotechnology. So it's this HumanNet and Skynet right in our face. This reminds me of Isaiah 60, big time, which many scholars say is about the end of days. So let's read Isaiah 60. Arise, shine, for thy light is come. The glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth. There's great darkness upon the earth, my friends. And gross darkness, the people, especially if they're taking this black goo, right, that's being jacked into our food, chemtrailed, and obviously other mechanisms to get this black goo in you. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. That's what we need to be. We need to be the light of this world. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and the kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up your eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to thee. The sun shall come from far, right? We need to save souls, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see the flow together, and thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee, and the force of the Gentiles shall come unto thee, and the multitude of camels shall cover thee, and the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. And the flocks, that kind of reminded me of the wise men when Jesus was born, right? We need to be a light and save souls. Ultimately, this is a soul battle, right? All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee, and the rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on my altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as doves to their windows? Now that sounds to me like the rapture, as many people will say. So ultimately, it's just kind of what this gross darkness, this black goo, they're pushing it. They're pushing it in Hollywood. They're pushing it in science, this nanotech, that dream that I had. And I think this woman was screaming about the rise of Skynet, and then all of a sudden my dream turned over to In You. And obviously, if you follow this channel, I talk a lot about nanotech, transhumanism, hive mind, all this nefarious stuff. You've been programmed forever. War on the blood, the tears, water, right? Christ, water and blood. Wild times, my friends. If you're not saved, get saved. Bookmark our site, sign up for our newsletter, join us on Gab, join us on Telegram, Scott with sjwellfire.com. Have a blessed day.